Hi, this is Jason Fierstein with Phoenix Men's Counseling, and today I am here to talk with you about how to most effectively manage stress. Stress is an inevitable part of life. Sometimes there is what's called positive stress, but I think that we've come to understand stress to be a negative thing. Stress is inherent in our everyday, and we're bound to pick up so much stress during the day or accumulated through the week. I think that men can do a really good job of taking care of themselves with stress, but again, so many inevitable factors come in and prevent us from really taking care of ourselves that's one of the reasons that I work so closely with men to manage their stress. So today's video is about 6 ways that you can think about that will help you more effectively manage stress. First, I like to talk about the fundamentals, what's at the bottom of your pyramid. So things like eating right, sleeping well, 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, or whatever works best for you, exercising regularly, anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week, and also watching your chemical intake, meaning caffeine, alcohol, sugar, marijuana, any of those types of things are going to have an effect on your stress, especially things like sugar and refined carbohydrates, and obviously alcohol, because alcohol, although it relaxes you temporarily, it has this effect of waking you up in the middle of the night. So when your sleep gets disrupted, you're inevitably setting yourself up for more stress. So I consider those the foundational blocks in the pyramid of good self-care. So the first thing is how to communicate and talk it out when you have stress. So sometimes, like many of us men, we tend to hide or withdraw or avoid or just kind of take the stress in and sit on it. Well, stress actually gets worse that way. You're making it worse by not talking it out. So finding a friend or a loved one or an intimate partner or even a professional counselor like me to go to once in a while when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed or just exhausted, and really trying to talk it out. It will help you expel some of the stress that you've locked in yourself. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I would say about taking self-care, about stress management, is self-care, especially for men. Men have a really difficult time taking care of themselves. I think women do too in some different ways. But sometimes I talk with some guys who don't even know what it means to take care of themselves. So identifying that it is really important to take care of yourself, and then identifying those ways that you can do self-care well. So some examples would be finding time with friends, finding alone time. That's really a big one, because a lot of guys get caught up in the family situation, or they're working all week and then they have family responsibilities and then they spend time with their wife and there's no time for themselves. So finding the time that you need for alone time, doing activities like yoga, getting a massage, journaling. There's some really good iPhone apps. I like to do audio journaling. Meditation is really popular these days. So things like that, Tai Chi or acupuncture, those are really great ways to get on a schedule and do it every so often to prioritize your stress management. So that's number 2. Number 3 is identifying what you need and getting it. So again, that goes along with the idea of self-care, because if you don't know what you need, it's going to be really hard for you to ask for what you need or to go out into the world and get what you need. So identifying what do you need. Is it more time, other resources, more attention or more affection from a loved one? Is it taking care of yourself? So really getting a clear idea of what it is that you need, and then going about in the world and getting it. Does it cost time or money? Does it require a risk of stepping up and having a conversation with someone to help you get that need met, rather than attacking them or criticizing them? So I think that that's really important, identifying what you need and getting it. The fourth thing is identifying the sources of stress. So, I know this kind of goes without saying, but sometimes men don't really know what it is that they're stressed about. They know that they feel stressed and exhausted and just fed up, but and it could be something about work, or it could be something about home, it could be something about the marriage. So really zeroing in on what are the sources of stress and creating some kind of an action plan, or identifying how you can help yourself to extinguish or at least cut back on the stress that this is causing you. So I think that is getting a handle on the stress just by putting a name on it. The fifth thing is identifying the emotions behind the stress. And so a lot of the time, stress we associate with situations, and then when we take the stress in, a lot of the time we create more of it by worrying within our minds. You can neutralize the stress by going into your body below your head. So sometimes there are deeper emotions, albeit them painful sometimes, but sometimes there's fear or sadness or neglect or other deeper primary emotions that you may not be in touch with. A lot of the times, if you let yourself go into the emotions and sink into those experiences, bringing your awareness down into your emotions, and this is really difficult for some men that I talk with. A lot of the times, if you sit with those emotions, it will work through the stress right in the present moment. And so this takes a little bit of practice, and you can email me if you want some more information about that. So identifying the emotions behind the stress is really important in terms of neutralizing the stress. And the last thing today is setting up a stress management program for yourself. Now this can be formalized or it can be informal, but really having a clear idea when you begin the week of how you will go about proceeding through the week, taking care of your stress. So planning out certain activities, if you have to go do certain sports or go to the gym, when is that going to happen? Booking that out in your schedule, I find, is really helpful, and communicating it with your spouse or your loved ones or your family, and then executing it, really following through on doing it. So setting up the schedule, finding the resources that you need, finding the time, and then actually going forth and doing it. And this is about a lifestyle, so it's not just about planning it once, but it's about trying to maintain consistency over and over again. And then just noticing the effects. Do you feel better after doing the stress management program by the end of the week? Do you have more energy? Do you feel happier? Do you feel less stressed? So just really be inquisitive and curious about what are the effects of you doing the stress management program from week to week. So those are 6 tips, as well as the foundational bricks that I talked about: eating, sleeping, dieting, and stimulants, that I think are a nice overview about how to deal with stress. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me through my website or through the comments in the YouTube post. But thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you deal with your stress effectively. Take care, and see you next time.